Hey kids! Welcome to our little Grizzo TV.
Once upon a time, in a quiet village by the edge of a great forest, there lived a sweet little girl. She was loved by all, but most of all by her grandmother, who had sewn her a beautiful red cloak with a hood. The girl wore it so often that everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother said,
"Grandmother is ill. Take this basket of food and go visit her. But remember, stay on the path. Do not talk to strangers, and go straight to her house."
Little Red Riding Hood set off happily. The sun shone through the trees, and birds sang as she walked along the forest path. But soon, a cunning wolf stepped out from behind a tree.
"Good morning, little girl."
The wolf said with a sly smile.
Good morning, Mr. Wolf.
She replied, remembering her mother's warning but thinking he seemed polite.
"Where are you going so early?"
The wolf asked.
I'm going to my grandmother's house, deep in the woods.
She answered innocently. The wolf's eyes gleamed.
"Ah, how kind of you. And where might her house be?"
It's just past the big oak tree and near the 3 mossy stones.
She said. The wolf licked his lips but smiled.
"Such lovely flowers grow here. Why not pick a bouquet for your dear grandmother?"
Little Red Riding Hood thought this was a fine idea, and as she stopped to gather flowers, the wolf dashed away on a shorter path to grandmother's house. When he arrived, he knocked on the door.
"Who is it?"
Called the frail voice of the grandmother.
"It is I, Little Red Riding Hood."
The wolf answered, disguising his voice.
"Come in, my dear."
Said grandmother. The wolf rushed in, swallowed grandmother whole, and quickly dressed in her nightgown and cap. He then climbed into bed and waited. Soon, Little Red Riding Hood arrived. She knocked the door, but she noticed the door was slightly open and stepped inside. She said,
Grandmother, I have brought you food and flowers.
"Come closer, child."
The wolf replied, trying to sound gentle. Little Red Riding Hood stepped forward but felt uneasy.
Grandmother, what big ears you have.
"All the better to hear you with, my dear."
Grandmother, what big eyes you have.
"All the better to see you with, my dear."
Grandmother, what big hands you have.
"All the better to hug you with, my dear."
Grandmother, what big teeth you have.
"All the better to eat you with."
With that, the wolf leapt from the bed, ready to swallow her whole. But just as he lunged, a huntsman passing by heard the commotion and rushed inside. He saw the wolf and, with a swift swing of his axe, defeated him. The huntsman then carefully cut open the wolf's belly, and out popped grandmother, still alive. Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother hugged tightly, relieved and thankful. From that day on, Little Red Riding Hood promised never to stray from the path or talk to strangers again. And as for the wolf, the forest was now safe from his cunning ways. And so, they lived happily ever after.